globally, about 55.8 to 60% of the working age population are working under you. When we come to Kenya, they did say that about 60% or so are working in one form of a place or another. But this 60% in public service, we are the in charges. We are the people who make sure they either good mental health or bad mental health. 15% of those people, the Ministry of Health did release a report, and they say the guidelines for workplace mental health. In that report, they highlighted that about 3.7 million Kenyans, thereabout, are affected by what we are talking about today. Their mental health and wellness is in your hands, good people. These 3.7 million Kenyanese, it is you who is sitting here and your neighbor that will determine whether they're in good or bad mental health. 2020 July, in the thick of COVID, a report is released, Presidential Task Force on Mental Health, and that report brought home facts that we are working with today. That one, as we are sitting here, if by any case we go into hospitals and come back, then a quarter of us, 1 out of every 4 of us will have a mental illness. But if we are admitted, ma'am, then 4 out of every 10 of us will have a mental illness. That is Kenyan report, not WHO, hapa kwetu Kenya. Now, let us look at these 15 to 29-year-olds, most of whom we oversee how they live their lives at places of work. The 15 to 29-year-olds, there's something called suicide. Suicide is the 4th leading cause of death amongst the 15 to 29-year-olds. If we talk about alcohol use, harmful binge drinking amongst these 15 to 29-year-olds, again, is worrying. If you come to our places of work, absenteeism, sir, is that familiar? Presenteeism, is that familiar? High staff turnover rate, is that familiar? Work-related injuries, is that familiar? All these things, deliberately the fan was directed this side and not this side. So, so these negative effects we see when we do not attend to the mental health and wellness cares of our charges. That report did highlight that if we focus, as we are sitting here today, and Bwana PS, I'll try to be very brief, that these negative impacts on the productivity, when His Excellency is saying that we want to shift our tax base from 14-20% of our GDP, we need high levels of productivity within the public service. That productivity will be negated if the mental health and wellness of these public servants is not adhered to and looked at. Bwana PS, good news is that IHRM, working with your ministry, has mainstreamed mental health and wellness. Tumpigie Bwana PS makofi with his CS.